Stand still. I want to watch how ridiculous you look covered in soup. The words sliced through the elegant hum of the five-star restaurant like a knife. Chloe Vanderbilt, 22, influencer heiress with millions of followers, smirked as she accidentally knocked the steaming bowl of lobster bisque right into the server's chest. Hot soup splashed across the black uniform, staining it crimson, dripping down onto expensive shoes. Chloe's friends erupted in laughter. Phones were already out, recording every second. Her father, billionaire real estate tycoon Victor Vanderbilt, barely glanced up from his phone before tossing a single-dollar bill onto the table. "That's probably more than you make in a week," he sneered. The server, Aisha, stood frozen, soup cooling against her skin, face burning hotter than the liquid. The entire dining room watched in stunned silence. Millions would soon see the video. Millions would laugh, rage, share. But no one knew the truth. That server owned the restaurant, and she was about to destroy everything they had. If this hook already has your blood boiling and your heart racing for sweet justice, smash that like button right now. Share this video with everyone who needs to see karma in action. Subscribe to The Spoken Pen and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. And drop a comment below telling us which part of the world you're watching from tonight. Let's get this story to the people who need it most. The Golden Plate was more than a restaurant. It was a Chicago landmark. Crystal chandeliers that caught every ray of light, white tablecloths crisp enough to cut glass, soft jazz curling through the air like expensive perfume. On busy nights, the rich and powerful came to be seen, to taste dishes that cost more than most people's daily wages, to feel untouchable. Aisha Thompson moved through the room like she belonged there, because she did. At 32, she had warm brown skin that glowed under the lights, natural curls pulled into a neat bun, and eyes that missed nothing. She wore the same black server uniform as everyone else, but there was a quiet strength in the way she carried herself. Guests smiled at her warmth. Regulars asked for her section. What no one knew, what Aisha had chosen to keep secret, was that the Golden Plate belonged to her. Her parents had built it from nothing, turned it into an empire, then left it to her in a trust when they died in a car accident 13 years earlier. She could have sat in a corner office counting money. Instead, she worked the floor 3 nights a week. She wanted to remember what it felt like to earn every tip, to hear every complaint, to feel the weight of every plate. It kept her humble, kept her real. That Friday night, table 12 arrived loud and late. Chloe Vanderbilt led the group, platinum hair shining, designer dress hugging every curve, phone already filming for her followers. Her 3 friends matched her energy, high-pitched laughter, selfies at every angle, ordering bottles of champagne without checking prices. Victor Vanderbilt sat at the head like a king. 55, silver hair slicked back, eyes cold as steel. His name was on skyscrapers across the city. He had built his fortune on deals that crushed smaller players and never once looked back. Aisha approached with her usual smile. "Good evening, everyone. My name is Aisha and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with something to drink?" Chloe's gaze crawled over her slowly, judgmental from head to toe. A cruel little smile tugged at her lips. "Oh my God, your accent is adorable. Where are you really from, sweetie?" Aisha's smile never wavered. She had been born right here in Chicago, but her voice carried the soft lilt of her Jamaican grandmother, the woman who had raised her after her parents passed. "Born and raised in the city," she answered gently. "We have an incredible wine list if you'd like recommendations." Victor didn't even look up. "Water. And hurry it up." They ordered lobster bisque for the table. The chef's signature, rich and creamy, made fresh daily. When Aisha returned with the tray, she placed each bowl with care, describing the flavors, proud of the kitchen's work. Chloe watched her like a cat watching a mouse. She leaned toward her closest friend and whispered something that made them both giggle. Then, as Aisha set the final bowl in front of her, Chloe's elbows slipped. The bowl tipped. Hot soup poured straight down Aisha's front, soaking her uniform, splashing onto the pristine tablecloth, dripping to the marble floor. The dining room went dead silent. Phones rose like weapons. Chloe's hand flew to her mouth in fake horror. "Oh no. I'm so sorry. It was totally an accident." But her eyes danced with delight. She was already recording with her free hand. Her friends exploded in laughter. "Girl, you look like a crime scene," one shrieked. Victor finally glanced up. He looked at the mess, then at Aisha and shook his head in disgust. "Clumsy help these days," he muttered, loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Can't even carry soup without making a scene." More laughter. Chloe zoomed in on Aisha's stained uniform. "This is premium content right here," she whispered to her friend. Aisha felt the heat of the soup, the burn of humiliation, the weight of every staring eye. But she did not flinch. She did not cry. She reached for a napkin and dabbed gently at her chest, voice steady as ever. "It's all right. I'll clean this up and bring fresh bowls right away." Chloe leaned back, still filming. "Honestly, you should watch where you're going. This is a nice place. Maybe stick to, I don't know, places that match your skill level." The words landed like slaps. Nearby tables shifted uncomfortably. A few guests looked away. No one spoke up. Victor pulled out his wallet and flicked a single-dollar bill onto the table like trash. "Here. A tip," he said, voice dripping with contempt. "That's probably more than you make in an hour anyway." The table roared with laughter. Chloe captioned the video on the spot. "When the help can't handle soup #RichLife #oops." Aisha met Victor's eyes for the briefest moment. Something flickered there, recognition of cruelty maybe, but she only nodded. "Thank you. I'll be right back with your appetizers." She walked to the kitchen with her head high, soup cooling against her skin. Inside the swinging doors, the staff rushed to her. Marco, the head chef and her oldest friend, handed her a clean uniform, eyes blazing. "Aisha, boss, you okay?" "I'm fine," she said quietly, but her voice shook just a little. She changed quickly, washed her face, tied her apron again. Then she returned to the floor as if nothing had happened. She served their entrees, refilled their glasses, smiled at every request. Chloe and her friends kept making little digs. "Careful with that plate, sweetie." But Aisha never broke. When the bill came, over $3,000, Victor paid with a black card and left that same single dollar as the only tip. As they left, Chloe spun back for one final clip. "Best night ever, guys. Thanks for the entertainment." The video exploded online. By morning it had 10 million views. Comments flooded in, some laughing, most furious. "This is racism, plain and simple. Who raises a child like that? Boycott Vanderbilt everything." Hashtags trended worldwide. #Justice for Aisha, #golden plate humiliation. Aisha sat in her upstairs office watching the numbers climb. Her phone rang nonstop, reporters, supporters, angry viewers. She could have ended it all with one statement: "I own this place." But she waited. She wanted the truth to hurt more than a quick reveal ever could. 3 days later, An email arrived from an address she didn't recognize. Subject: I can't stay silent anymore. The sender was Luis Ramirez, 74, retired chef. He had worked for Vanderbilt Catering, Victor's family company, for 30 years. Fired at 64 being too slow. He had carried the pain ever since. After seeing the video of Aisha, something inside him snapped. I kept records, he wrote. Everything. The way they treated us. The money they stole. The lies. I thought no one would ever believe a nobody like me. But you stood there and didn't break. You gave me courage. Aisha arranged to meet him the next morning in a quiet coffee shop far from downtown. Luis arrived carrying an old leather bag, hands trembling. His eyes filled with tears the moment he saw her. Miss Thompson. Aisha. Thank you for meeting an old man. Call me Aisha, she said softly and pulled out his chair. Tell me everything. He opened the bag and spread decades of notebooks across the table. Handwritten pages, dates, times, names. They paid us under the table to avoid taxes, he said, voice cracking. Made us work 16-hour days with no overtime. Fired anyone who complained, especially people of color. I started writing the day they let Maria go, single mother, complained about harassment, gone the next day with no severance. He pulled out a small recorder. 10 years ago I started carrying this. Listen to things no one should hear. He pressed play. Victor's voice filled the quiet corner. Keep the brown staff in the back. Clients don't want to see them. And remember, cash only for the immigrants. No paper trail. Aisha's stomach turned, but she kept listening. Photos next. Kitchens with broken equipment never fixed. Workers with injuries ignored, fake invoices, offshore accounts. Everything time-stamped, organized, undeniable. When Luis finished, tears streamed down his wrinkled cheeks. I stayed quiet to feed my family. I'm ashamed. But seeing you, standing there while they laughed, I couldn't carry it anymore. Aisha reached across and covered his shaking hands with hers. Her own eyes were wet. Luis, you're not ashamed. You're brave. This is everything. That same week, Vanderbilt Catering had just signed a massive deal with the Golden Plate. $40 million over 5 years to handle every large event. Weddings, galas, corporate parties. Victor had bragged to the press about elevating Chicago's finest dining experience. Aisha called her lawyer. The contract was terminated immediately, citing violation of shared values. The statement was simple. The Golden Plate chooses partners who treat every human being with respect. We will not continue a relationship built on anything less. Victor exploded. He called the restaurant himself, demanding the owner. When Aisha answered, he didn't recognize her voice. Who the hell is this? He roared. Do you have any idea what you've just thrown away? $40 million because my daughter had a little accident? You're insane. Aisha's voice stayed calm, but steel ran through it. It wasn't the soup, Mr. Vanderbilt. It was the cruelty, the racism, the belief that some people are worth less than others. We have standards. Victor laughed bitterly. Standards? You're a restaurant. You need us. Good luck finding anyone else at our level. He slammed the phone down. The backlash grew. Boycott spread. Major clients paused Vanderbilt contracts. Stock dipped. Victor and Chloe went into damage control. Chloe posted tearful videos. It was an accident, I swear. I'm not racist. I'm being canceled for nothing. Her tears looked practiced. Victor gave interviews calling the reaction hysterical, and Aisha, overly sensitive. But the public wasn't buying it. Aisha scheduled a press conference outside the Golden Plate. Reporters packed the sidewalk. When she stepped to the microphone in a simple navy suit, the crowd hushed. "Good afternoon. My name is Aisha Thompson." She paused, letting it sink in. "And I am the owner of the Golden Plate." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Cameras flashed like lightning. "I work the floor 3 nights a week because I never want to forget what it feels like to serve, to smile through difficult moments, to earn every dollar. Last Friday, I was humiliated in my own restaurant. But this moment isn't about me. It's about every worker who has ever been treated as invisible." She turned to the man beside her. "This is Luis Ramirez. For 30 years, he cooked for the Vanderbilt family. And for 30 years, he documented the truth." Luis stepped forward, voice trembling but strong. "They built their empire on our backs. They stole our wages, silenced our complaints, treated us like garbage because of our skin, our accents, our names." Tears rolled down his face. "I stayed quiet too long. But no more." Recordings played over the speakers, Victor's own voice bragging about cheating workers, avoiding taxes, hiding money. Documents flashed on screens behind them. Fake invoices, under-the-table payments, decades of lies. The crowd was silent, then erupted in questions. Within hours, federal investigators opened cases. Former employees flooded hotlines with matching stories. Vanderbilt Catering lost client after client. Victor fought back desperately. Lawsuits for defamation. Paid influencers spreading doubt. Chloe's tearful talk show circuit. "I was young and stupid. I'm so sorry." But each appearance only reminded people of the original video. It wasn't enough. Department of Labor raids. IRS audits. Stock plunged 40%. Victor was arrested leaving his office, handcuffed in front of cameras shouting, "This is a witch hunt," as agents carried out boxes of files. Chloe's sponsorships vanished overnight. Her follower count crashed. The family mansion went into foreclosure. 6 months later, the Golden Plate thrived like never before. A second location opened downtown. Aisha launched the Luis Ramirez Worker Protection Fund. Legal aid, emergency grants, training programs for restaurant workers facing abuse. One quiet afternoon, a young woman entered the restaurant wearing sunglasses and a simple coat. She asked to speak to the manager about a job. Aisha met her in the office. Chloe Vanderbilt looked small without the designer armor. Her eyes were red-rimmed. I need work," she said, voice breaking. "No one will hire me. I've applied everywhere." A single tear escaped. "I know what I did was horrible. I was raised to think the world owed me everything. I was cruel. I'm so sorry." Her words cracked with real shame for the first time. Aisha studied her for a long moment, heart heavy but steady. "Do you understand now? That every person in this building matters just as much as you?" Chloe nodded, tears falling freely. "I do. I swear I do." Aisha's voice softened but remained firm. "Respect isn't learned in one apology. It's earned every single day. Maybe one day there'll be a place for you here. But not today." Chloe left without another word, shoulders shaking. That night, Aisha tied on her apron once more. She walked the floor, greeted tables with the same warm smile, felt the familiar rhythm of service. The chandeliers sparkled above her. The jazz played softly. And in every corner of the room, people, staff and guests alike, were treated like gold. Because Aisha Thompson had never forgotten where she came from. And she had made sure no one else in her restaurant ever would either. If this story of quiet strength and perfect justice moved you, hit like, share it far and wide, subscribe to The Spoken Pen for more stories that hit the soul, and comment below. What part of the world are you watching from? And which moment hit you the hardest? We read every single comment. See you in the next one.